All right, everybody should now be able to see the deck, I hope. We have the pictures of our speakers today, David Chitester and Dallas Vasquez. So we'll do a full introduction for these fine gentlemen in just a minute. Before we do that, I want to take the time to thank everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions, comments, or issues during the session, please feel free to let me know. If you have my email, you can email me directly or you can chat me right within the Zoom tool. I'll be happy to assist you in any way that I can, assuming that I'm not presenting at that particular moment. So with that being said, I would like to first welcome Brian Samelson, board chairman, to the stage. He has a few words that he would like to share. Brian? You're still muted, Brian.
I thought you were going to handle the muting and unmuting. So, okay, but everybody can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thanks, Alex. So as Alex said, I'm Brian Samelson, and I am the new board chairman of Fusion Pointe. Over the last couple of years, I've spent a fair amount of time with the Fusion Pointe program in terms of understanding what it is and supporting it, and I've spent a fair amount of time with Steve in terms of understanding the goals and the mission, and feel pretty confident that where we're picking up and running with the ball is it's very much in line with how the founders of Fusion Pointe really envision it, and we hope to really do it justice. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I just want to thank Steve Walling for giving us this opportunity to carry the organization forward. As far as myself, I live in Bonita Springs full-time, and I have 30 plus years of software industry experience. I had my own software company for about 30 years, and over the last 4 years, I've tried to kind of made the transition from running a software company day to day to investing in other software companies and helping as much as I can with my experience in helping new entrepreneurs try to be successful as well. And it's been a very rewarding process for me. Again, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Hope everyone is staying safe in these kind of crazy times on all levels. I don't want to steal the thunder of Alex Allen and Mark Komencky, so I'm going to kind of just keep it at a high point, and they'll fill in the details. In my role as chairman, I'm again trying to keep in line with what I've been doing a lot of lately, which is giving guidance and mentoring. And truth be told, Alex and Mark are doing all the heavy lifting. And so far have been doing a tremendous job. So I think today what we're going to be hearing about from them are some exciting things that are brewing with the program, new programs, formalization of existing programs, and new mentees to the program. And I think also, which is exciting to me, new opportunities for mentors. So through these new programs, I think the mentors that are in the program, it'll be more clear as to the different types of roles that they can play. It'll be a little more structure. And, we hope to hold not only mentors, but also companies that are being mentored a little more accountable to the goals of the program, so that as we move forward, we do a little better job beyond just assigning a mentor to a company and hoping for the best. So again, I think Alex and Mark will fill in some details around that. Also, in the past 4 years, I've been lucky enough to partner with Alex and Aaron Stafford in launching the 239 workspace in Bonita. I think most people are familiar with that, but we really have been striving to be kind of the center of the tech scene in Southwest Florida. And over the past year and a half, I think we've done a pretty good job at accomplishing that. And we're really looking to partner with Fusion Pointe to, again, provide a lot more opportunities in terms of things that will resonate for mentors and for the mentee companies themselves. We're running as fast as we can, but also trying to do things the right way. We're hoping that we're going to bring an accelerator to Southwest Florida that will bring, I would say, best practices in that space, and that again will provide opportunities at a higher level for mentors to be involved, and then also another outlet for mentee companies. And then I think last but not least, in order to do all of this, it does require funding. And over the next few weeks, you'll be hearing a lot about what will essentially be our capital campaign for 2020. And even in that, I think we'll have some exciting news beyond just asking people to open their wallets. But the more on that coming soon. But certainly we hope to get as much support as possible so that we can have all of these things come to fruition. Having said that, again, thanks everybody for joining, and looking forward to a great meeting.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Really appreciate that. And I'm Alex Allen. So as Brian mentioned, he and I have worked together for quite some time now. I've had the privilege of working with Steve and the other mentors from Fusion Pointe over the last, I guess, year and a half now. I'm excited to participate now and to have the trust of Steve and the other advisors to carry the ball forward. I've learned a lot, and hope to continue to learn a lot from the existing mentors, and watching some of the entrepreneurs in the program, collaborating with them in the 239 space. So really excited to level up our level of participation. So some of the things that I'll be speaking to here today. And I have to apologize. My mouse has disappeared, so I can't actually. There we go. All right. Woohoo! I can see what I'm talking about now. All right. So running through the Mentorship Leader Committee, what that is, the partnership that Brian had just mentioned with the labs at 239 Work, those new mentoring paths, and some website and social updates. So just going to quickly run through those. I know we're already behind schedules, so I'm going to move lightning pace here. Try to move lightning pace without my mouse. All right, so historically, the mentoring paths for Fusion Pointe have been fairly straightforward. When an entrepreneur comes into the program, there's an evaluation, and our goal Fusion Pointe's goal has always been to help that person in whatever way possible. So whether that means connecting that entrepreneur with just members of the community that we're in touch with or other organizations, getting them officially into the mentoring program where we meet regularly and assign mentors, and then hopefully going all the way through that process and becoming part of the alumni of the program. One of the moves that we've made over the last couple of months is that we've actually assigned a formal mentorship leader committee, or mentor leadership committee, excuse me, which is headed up by Mark Komencky, who's here on the call today. And then also we have Tracy Adams and Don Platt, so both longtime, extremely strong entrepreneurs in the program that we're lucky to have participating and meeting on a regular basis to do things like review incoming entrepreneurs, meet with potential mentors, suggest mentors, and introduce us to other people in the network. Now, through the partnership with the labs at 239 Work, so there's two things here. There's a lot going on this slide. Let me just make it simple for you. The labs represents two things at 239. It represents the startup accelerator that Brian mentioned, which is pretty standard as far as formatting a 12-week program. It is a non-equity program, so no taking equity from entrepreneurs, that we hope to build out and have operational by the end of this year. The other component of the lab's effort is just supporting the local entrepreneurial and technology ecosystem. So formalizing our support for all of these nonprofits and meetups that are in the area, and the level of support that they can expect from us, access to the space, support in the community, and sharing events and collaborating. So these are our two efforts born under the same name, under the same mission. So as Brian mentioned, also tying in with the Startup Accelerator, our goal is to work extremely closely with the Fusion Pointe mentorship team, and have you all as engaged as possible and as you're interested to be. So obviously there's a lot of heavy lifting to do, as Brian mentioned, and we're moving as quickly as we can to get this off the ground and get details shared. With the Labs Accelerator and some of our other efforts, the mentoring paths look a little bit different now. So now we have really an offering for all the different stages coming out of these joint programs. So we'll still have the ability to introduce entrepreneurs to our network if we're not ready for a very formal, intensive relationship. We have a 60-day Kickstart program for entrepreneurs that are early stage, first-time entrepreneur, early stage in their business, to help make sure that they have all of the foundation underway. This will be a light touch program, and hopefully a feeder into the next two options, which is the Labs Accelerator and then the formal structured mentoring. So as Brian mentioned, we're looking to get a little bit more formal on all of these programs. And for example, after the 60-day Kickstart, we'll go back to an evaluation and identify where that entrepreneur goes next as a team. And the same for the Labs Accelerator, and really all of these different programs. The structured mentoring will meet, again, the entrepreneurs and the mentors will meet on a regular basis quarterly to assess progress and to set clear targets for the next 90 days. So just taking what Steve and his team have already built and adding to that, and trying to see what we can do to take things to the next level. Another big component of what we're doing is obviously marketing. So one of the components is we need to get the word out about what we're doing here as a joint venture. So we've put together a new website. That new website is launched. There's still some work that needs to be done to it to enhance it. And so we will be reaching out to all of the entrepreneurs and mentors in the program to make sure that we have updated information, images, contact information, all of those things, bios for companies and individuals as part of that effort. The next component, as you've probably seen, is newsletters have been going out. So we're going to send out more frequent updates through that newsletter platform. And we're going to be really activating the social media presence and focusing on getting some PR for the organization. So really getting out there. I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with John Talmadge of the Lee County Economic Development Office just yesterday, and he had committed that he'll give us the floor in August at the next Horizon Council meeting to talk about some of the progress that we're making and some of the efforts that we're putting in to help raise up the economy in these currently a little bit stressful times. And then, so one other item that I did want to bring up here quickly is a LinkedIn group. So this is something that we had discussed, is how to more actively communicate within the Fusion Pointe community. And so one of the suggestions that came up was actually a private LinkedIn group where we would be able to post, share comments, ask for assistance or subject matter experts from outside of the network, and communicate about things that are going on with entrepreneurs within the ecosystem, things along those lines. So hopefully most people here are familiar with Zoom. At this point, you can actually raise your hand. I think it's in the chat option. So if anybody that's interested and would participate in the LinkedIn group or would be interested in seeing what that looks like, if you could just go ahead and raise your hand, that'll give me a good kind of just idea of whether you're interested as a larger organization in getting involved in something like that. If you have other ideas on how you'd like to participate or how you'd like to see the community grow, we'd love to hear from you. So please don't hesitate to reach out and make alternative suggestions. But the goal, of course, is to get information to entrepreneurs and mentors as quickly as possible. So we're just looking at ways to do that without creating a 40, 50, 60 person email chain is the goal. So with that said, I'd like to ask Mark Komencky to take the stage and introduce our newest Fusion Pointe member.
Well, thanks, Alex, and good morning, everybody. It's great that we could get together like this, and hopefully this will be something that we can continue to do while we're under these restrictions, and hopefully also that we can perhaps get together in person at some point in the not too distant future. So I'm excited to be involved in the program and to have certainly been spending a lot of time working with Steve and Alex and Brian over the last few months to plan some of the things that Alex just went through today. And one of those things was putting some structure around the program and the Kickstart concept as well. So I'm excited to introduce Deshaun Robinson from Doors Open Connect this morning. So Deshaun was referred to us by Jason Dowley from Testimonial Tree. So thanks, Jason, for that referral. And Deshaun is working on a mobile platform that is focused on the real estate industry. And I'll let him spend a minute kind of going through what he's up to. And I look forward to working with Deshaun and his founders to evaluate and help him kind of get through the next 60 days. So Deshaun, I'll let you take it from here. And again, welcome.
Hello, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me. So I'm working. Are you able to hear me, Mark?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm here with Doors Open Connect, and Doors Open Connect is a mobile app platform designed to unify and bring actively licensed real estate agents who are in need of being in more places at once and connecting them with other licensed real estate agents looking for lead generating opportunities and paid services on demand under one organized platform. Doors Open Connect is not affiliated with any one brokerage, but is here instead to encourage co-broker relationships and multi-agency support and collaboration. So in essence, what we're here to do is to bring professional licensed agents together who need help with other agents that are looking for opportunities and are willing to assist in those areas. So that's in essence what we're trying to do here.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Deshaun. And as I said, we're excited to have him join the program and also to kick off the 60-day Kickstart program for Fusion Pointe. So look forward to working with you, Deshaun, over the next couple of months and hopefully much longer in one of the other programs at Fusion Pointe.
Great. Thanks so much, Mark, and thanks so much, Deshaun. Really looking forward to working with you. Now, if we could, I'd like to hand things over to Dallas Vasquez to provide an update on his business. Dallas, do you have slides that you'd like to share, or are you just going to be speaking today?
I'm just going to be talking today, buddy.
All right, go for it.
All right. Hey, first I wanted to just really thank and congratulate 239 Group, Fusion Pointe. You guys have certainly seemed busy. Looks like you guys have achieved quite a bit in a short amount of time. I've belonged to Fusion Pointe now for at least a year, I think. I've enjoyed meeting with Mark, with Steve, with all the different entrepreneurs and mentors at different roundtables and meetings. So just, hands down, great job and keep up the good work. So Right. As Alex said, my name is Dallas Vasquez. I'm the CEO of TrackTech. Some of you may know us as iGPS. TrackTech is really a location awareness technology company. So we really just focus on wearables that are for 3 specific groups: children, seniors, and then anyone at risk of wandering. And I want to talk a little about today is specifically this time period of the last several months. We really use this time period to first, we had a 2-step process. We just really identified the challenges to our company, and then we wanted to identify the opportunities for our company. Once we identified the challenges to our company during this time, we really just set out to stabilize those, reach out to our customers, do some additional surveying of customers, and bring a whole lot of feedback to the company. And then after we kind of stabilized those challenges, we thought we were in a good place with those. We started to identify all the different opportunities that TrackTech had during these times. And there were several. We found that there was a huge opportunity in marketing. We saw a lot of marketing dollars being pulled back out of the market. That was, anywhere from, social media platforms to the Amazon channel itself, as well as Google and Bing and several others. So if one thing we did that was really successful is we never pulled back, any marketing and advertising dollars. If anything, we actually stepped on the throttle a little bit, and we saw some excellent results from those decisions. Another thing, that maybe worked in our favor was we made a technology acquisition in December, and we identified several different synergies and opportunities with that acquisition, and it had a large demand on the IT and the technology to integrate those with our current systems. So this really just allowed us some extra opportunity to make sure that those things were in place and working the way we wanted them to. But then it also allowed us to circle back to all the existing customers from that company. And once again, we found that people have been much more responsive to by email generally, or text messaging, to bring us feedback and to participate in different surveys to tell us what they thought about our product, what they thought about our service, and then what they want to see from us in the future. So we really think that this was an opportunity to reach out to your current customers and really figure out and drill down with them about how you can be a better company, a better product, or a better service. Another opportunity that was identified is that for one reason or another, we felt that some of the doors that we've been knocking on, larger companies, like, in our case, Disney and Stanley Healthcare, we've been beating down the doors of these guys for a really long time for some partnerships. And all of them were much more responsive to our inquiries. And we've opened up dialogue with several, partner companies that we've been trying to identify and talk to for a long time. So we think that has also went really well. As far as, efficiencies, we really dialed in. We, like a lot of companies and people, we went into cost savings mode as a knee-jerk reaction, I think, to this. And so we spent 2 to 3 weeks, all hands on deck, to identify some of the fat on the bone, if you will, and get rid of it, where we were maybe not efficient with some of our spending and some of the things that we could cut back on as far as services. And so as we got through that exercise, we realized that, hey, we really didn't have too many of those, thankfully, but we were glad that we identified the ones that we did, and we took care of that. As far as some of the things that we're most proud of, we never laid anyone off through this process. As a matter of fact, We have 2 part-time employees here that lost their positions at much larger companies. We actually increased their hours. We gave 2 pay raises in the last 60 days to other employees. So we're very proud of that. We think we've responded well as a small company. You know, it's 3 founders and 7 full-time employees and 2 part-time. Everyone is here working from home or the office, one of the 2. And we've also taken some time, myself personally, I've spent more time than usual reaching out, talking to the employees, and just really getting some extra feedback from them on their thoughts about our products, our services, and the front lines of what they think that we can deliver to our customers to make their lives better. So that's just a little update from TrackTech and iGPS.
Sorry, hard to unmute when you can't see your mouse moving. So thanks Dallas for that. I really appreciate the update. Very positive message. So great to hear that good things are happening while we're struggling in other areas. So thank you for that. And without any further ado, Dave, I'd like to hand it over to you to provide an update on what you're seeing in the ecosystem down here in Florida, and some of the exciting moves that you've been making over the last few months.
Thanks, Alex. I'm going to talk about 2 things, actually. First, talk about seed funders itself and what we're doing and who we are and what we're looking for and how we're investing. And I'll talk about the industry overall, the Florida industry, the investment industry in Florida, and what I see as since COVID-19, what the impacts have been. So starting with seed funders, I launched seed funders about 2 years ago. Actually started 3 years ago. We did our first investment just over 2 years ago. And we're looking for, well, I'll get into what we're looking for, but a lot of you may know that I started Florida Funders about 8 years ago. So I ended up running Florida Funders for about 3 years and seeing that could get much bigger. And I'm a startup guy, I'm not an ops guy, and we needed ops people. So I basically turned over Florida Funders to Mark Blumenthal and Tom Wallace. And after about a year, I launched Seed Funders. And so what I'm going to talk about today is dealing with seed funders, not Florida Funders. I'm still an equity holder in Florida Funders, and but I'm not involved on the day-to-day basis in Florida Funders. I talked to Tom, I talked to Mark, so I know what they're doing. So I could answer some questions on Florida Funders, but primarily I want to talk about seed funders. Seed funders are, my one-liner is, we're looking for pre-revenue, scalable technology with a clean cap table. What that means is, well, pre-revenue is kind of obvious. Early revenue is fine. But if they're getting up to $200,000, $400,000, $500,000 in revenue, that's probably too late for us to invest. So we're looking at pre-revenue, scalable technology, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of times I get entrepreneurs that says, what do you mean we're not scalable? Of course, we can have more money, we can sell more products. But we're looking for SaaS systems, we're looking for software platforms, we're looking for anything that we do some devices, invest in devices, but if they have recurring revenue, something with recurring revenue, that to me is scalable, where you can install a device and you get revenue month after month, year after year. So those are the kind of things we look for. And a clean cap table means that we're looking for companies that have no previous professional investment. They could have friends and family, they could have some angel investor here and there. But really, we want to be the first professional investors on board. We join the board of the company. We help them succeed. We want to get them to the point of they can be funded, follow on. Our average investment is $150,000. Our highest has been $500,000. And our lowest is about, I think we did a few under $100,000. So we look for scalable technology with a clean cap table in Florida, primarily with exclusively in Florida. Since we launched, did our first investment just over 2 years ago, we've made 21 investments in the last 2 years. 7 of those were follow-ons. So we do have about $900,000 invested in one company after a couple follow-ons. So we have 21 investments. We, as I said, started in St. Petersburg, launched in St. Petersburg 2-3 years ago. We now have partner groups in Orlando. We started Orlando about a year ago. And now just last week, we launched Seed Funders Miami. So we have a Miami group now, and we already have submittals coming through for companies in Miami. We've got 3 submittals in the first week of companies in Miami looking for seed stage funding. So we have 41 partners right now between the groups. And I think it's important to understand who these partners are. They're a lot like a lot of you guys. Basically, they're successful people who come out of business or come out of their own company, have retired or semi-retired, and want to help. They want to give back and help. Now, we are for-profit. We're not a nonprofit advisory group or anything. We're for-profit. So I tell my partners, when somebody asks about what's Seed Funders, I say we're for-profit. We take a carried interest on the success of the investment only. We don't charge the entrepreneurs anything. We don't charge to be on a board. We don't take a salary for being on boards or anything like that. It's totally, once we make an investment, we are on the side of the entrepreneur to make them successful. But we do get from the investors a 20% carried interest on the success. So we need to invest in successful companies. That's our only revenue, is successful companies. So these partners want to get involved. They want to invest for profit, but they want to help the company succeed. And that's our mission, is to help these companies succeed, be on the boards, help them get to that next level. And then we have fun doing it. So I tell everybody, we have fun doing social good by helping companies succeed to make money. So it covers all the bases there. What can go wrong? So we're having a lot of fun doing it. We've made 41, as I said, we have 41 partners. We've made 21 investments. And COVID-19, obviously, 2 months ago, we morphed into Zoom meetings. We used to meet every Monday in downtown St. Petersburg. We would have 15 to 20 partners get together every Monday at 10 o'clock. Now we do Zoom. We get 25 partners on the Zoom meetings every Monday. And then Orlando has their own meetings, and Miami will be starting their own meetings as well. So we are investing. We're looking for scalable technology companies, $150,000 average. I think the one thing that has maybe changed a little bit since the COVID-19 is on valuations. And that's always a main question people have of how do you evaluate a pre-revenue company, or what's a company worth? And we've seen some valuations coming down on some of the companies that have submitted, but for a guideline on what we're looking for, if a company has and we do require some kind of a MVP or something. We don't just invest in ideas. They've got to have some kind of an MVP or something without having revenue, but maybe something developed. And when we get a lot of entrepreneurs pre-COVID that somehow somebody told them that $3 million is your value. If you have an MVP, you're worth $3 million. And we just don't, we won't invest at that valuation. Our average value, we closed a deal last week for $1.5 million valuation. We've gone as high as $2.5 million pre-money, as low as $1 million. So that's kind of the valuations that we look for to be able to invest. And so if somebody was $3 million pre-money or pre-COVID-19 and that come down into our range, then we'll be interested. So as I said, we're doing Zoom meetings now. In April, in 1 week, we closed 3 deals in 1 week. We invested over $500,000 in 3 pre-revenue companies. So that's kind of our overall goal and where we stand with seed funders. Now, on the industry, and that's seed funders itself specifically, on the industry in general, throughout Florida, I have not seen a lot of pullback from venture capitalists. If you look at firms like Florida Funders, they're still investing. I talk to Tom all the time. They're still investing full speed ahead. Ben Patz with Deepwater Capital is investing. I'm sure Tim Cartwright. Tim's one of my partners, by the way. Tim Cartwright. They're investing. PitchBook just did released the most active venture capital firms in the Southeast, in the entire Southeast. And Florida Funders was #1 in the Southeast. And Ballast Point out of Tampa was #3. They were tied for #3. So the money is out there. Firms are investing, venture capitalists are investing. I have not seen a significant pullback by any of the venture capital companies that are saying, well, we're going to wait. I've seen that nationally. I've seen that probably in California. I think that, but again, I deal in Florida only, so I don't really pay attention to what's happening outside of Florida. But I have seen articles about national venture capitalists, but I haven't seen it in Florida. I have not seen a pullback in Florida. As long as somebody has a good idea, has a good team, has a good valuation, companies are investing, including seed funders, including Florida funders, and as I said, Deeport Capital and others. So overall, I haven't seen a major impact from COVID-19 other than maybe on the valuations. We had a company submit that had a 10 million cap on a convertible note. And my partner just, there's no way. And she had taken previous capital. And she went to our board and came down to 7 million cap, like pretty much within a week. So I have seen valuations falling a bit, but the money is there. My 41 partners want to invest. They have the capital. They want to help and be on boards and help these companies succeed. So I love what you guys are doing at Fusion Pointe. I think we can have a good partnership here. You have companies that are being mentored, and we can trust that they've been qualified and feed them to us for funding at that level. We will then help companies fund, get on the boards, get them to the next level. I'll just close with talk about our first investment 2 years ago. We invested in a company called TSO Life out of Tampa. They had gone to Tamiami, they went to Deeport, they went to Florida funders. Nobody would invest, they were pre-revenue. We invested $150,000 at 20 cents a share. 1 year later, Florida funders invested $900,000 at 48 cents a share. We got them, I was on the board, they got national contracts, got them to the point where we can bring in follow-on investors, either with Ben Patz or with Tom Wallace or Tim Cartwright, bring on that follow-on investment after we get those companies to the level and be qualified. So again, I look forward to working with you guys and seeing companies coming out of Fusion Pointe that we could then work together and get them funded. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, well, thanks, Dave. Thanks so much. It was great to hear more about seed funders, and also to hear that the climate in Florida is not doom and gloom. So that it's very exciting to hear that. So yeah, as Dave mentioned, certainly the floor is open to questions. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask.
Hey, Dave, this is Aaron Stafford. Is it a fund or is it a syndicate?
We are basically, we're very different than anybody else. We're effectively an angel group. So every time we have a deal that we vet a deal, we have a 3-member due diligence committee, and we vet the deal. And if the due diligence committee recommends investing, then we go through with an investment process. But we then go to the partners, our 41 partners, and say, who wants to get in on the deal? And the minimum is $5,000. We have no problem raising $150,000 on a good deal. We've gone up to $300,000 to $400,000 with the partners. When we get to the 500, the one we did with 500, we had to bring in some outside investors to be on our cap table. But so every deal, the answer is every deal is a separate deal. It's a separate SVP. It's not a fund. It's not a committed capital fund. Yep. So our site is open for anyone to submit, and then we do the due diligence and determine whether we want to go through a cap table or through a term sheet and come up with a term sheet and then solicit the partners to invest.
And about how long, what's the turnaround time look like? I guess on average, I'm sure it changes.
We did one investment in 2 weeks. We did one of our largest ones, a $350,000 investment, we did in 1 month. Now that, as you said, is, those are the outliers. But we don't take 6 months. I love New World Angels, and I know a lot of them, we work with them and all that, but a 6-month time frame is just too long for us to evaluate somebody, determine whether we're going to invest. Now we do at times tell a company, we like what you're doing, but your MVP isn't far along enough, or you need to get some marketing plan, or you need to do something. We'll put them on a wait list. So if we put a company on a wait list, or not a wait list, but a watch list, if we put them on a watch list, we'll go back maybe a month or 2 or 3 later. But when we're seriously investing in, considering a company, we go through a process pretty darn quick. And I would say the average is maybe well, here's a good one. We came to an agreement with a company, and within 30 days, we had 2 weeks. Within 30 days, we had the legal docs done last week, and now we have 30 days to fund. So, well, we work fairly quickly, much quicker than most other organizations.
Awesome. Thanks.
Hey, Dave, this is Steve Walling.
Yes, Dave.
So the 21 investments, can you kind of break down the where they are in their curve, in their business curve?
Sure. They were all pre-revenue.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Pre-revenue. They all had, they're all Florida-based. Actually, 2 of them are not Florida-based, but they will relocate to Florida. One of them is out in Connecticut, and when they launch, they will actually move their headquarters to St. Petersburg. So they're pre-revenue. They have a product. I don't believe any of them had clients online or clients ready to sign, but they had a product. They had maybe some showed some interest from clients, or they had some contracts that might have been not signed, but maybe pending. So it's across the board. But as I said, out of the 21, 7 of them were follow-ons. So there are really only 14 out of those 21 investments. The follow-ons were a totally different thing. The valuations were higher, obviously. Like TSO Life, I point out, we participated with a follow-on with Florida funders on that one at the 48 cents a share. Our original was 20 cents a share. They don't have to be corporations. We'll invest in LLCs. They obviously have to have a kind of a staff of 2 or 3 founders. It's not just a one-person idea stage. So you have maybe 2 founders. 2 is okay. 3 is okay. 1 probably not. So 2 or 3 founders, an MVP, some potential interest from clients, definitely a marketing plan of how you're going to sell, who you're going to sell to, what's the market look like, and definitely a huge analysis of competition. We want to know who the competitors are and why you're better, what problem you're solving, and why are you going to beat all the competitors. We see lots and lots of submittals that have way too much competition that we just don't see any way that $150,000 is going to get them into a market that has 6 competitors established already, or even 6 startups doing the same thing. So that's kind of what we look for.
Okay, so your target market then isn't necessarily St. Petersburg.
No, so we're statewide.
And you have St. Petersburg, Orlando, Miami. And so you're all pretty much working together and managing the distribution of your startups.
That's exactly right. We use ProSeeder for deal flow management. And on our ProSeeder application, when an entrepreneur applies, the last question is, which entity are you seeking funding from? And they put in either St. Pete, Orlando, or Miami. And then we sort by that. And so that entity, the Miami partners, then see the Miami, but they can invest in all the deals. And so Orlando recently had a deal with a company that, well, no matter what they do, but they had a deal with a company they want to invest in. St. Petersburg partners put $45,000 into that Orlando deal. The same thing when St. Pete had a follow-on on one of ours, Orlando partners put $50,000 into the St. Pete deal. So it doesn't matter where the deal is from, it doesn't matter who's leading it. So any of the 3 entities can lead the deal, but all the partners can invest. And that's what makes it so great. And even launching Miami, we already have 41 partners who want to invest, even though we're just starting out there.
Okay, thanks.
David, this is Frank Gilardi.
Yeah, Frank.
What is the average investment in a particular investment? What is the average investment per investor amount? Typically,
I would say $10,000.
$10,000.
Like I said, 5 is the minimum. we've had, when we put a $150,000 deal together, we might have 3 or 4 people put in 5 and maybe 6 or 7 people put in 10, and one person might lead a deal and put in 20 or 25. I don't believe anybody's put in more than 25 in any single deal. But we have a couple guys who 25 is like their number, so they'll put 25 if they're leading a deal. But I'd say the average is 10, the minimum is 5. I go into every deal and I do 5 or 10 in every deal,
Okay.
just to be involved.
Sure. Thank you.
Person. Any other questions?
Well, Dave, I'll ask one. So what is the typical makeup of the teams that you're investing in? Is it, 2 or 3 people? Do they tend to be larger teams, smaller teams? Just curious what that might look like.
Great. Yeah. We like to see somebody came out of the industry, first of all. Somebody that saw a problem in the industry and came up with something to solve it. It's a little tough to invest in a developer that sees an idea to make a great website or a great platform and says, I'm going to develop this, but hasn't had the industry experience. So we really like to see somebody. They don't need to have been successful in the industry. They don't need to have established, they don't need to be successful entrepreneurs at all. They could be, a couple years out of high school or out of college or even high school, I guess. We have one guy actually that didn't even graduate from high school. He raised $3 million in Tampa and went to Silicon Valley to start a company. And now he's starting another one. He's come back here. So it's all kinds. We see all kinds of successfuls or people who've been previously successful. But our requirement is not to have somebody that was previously successful. It's not to have somebody that would, we like to see an industry, somebody that worked for a company or that has been involved in that and sees an opportunity to create something. And they need to then have the help with the marketing side or the sales side or the management side if they're the technical expert. We had a presentation yesterday, phenomenal experience. The guy's a master's in mechanical engineering and has something, it's really talking to him and hearing his expertise in the industry was just off the chart. He teamed up with a marketing guy who knows how to market to government, which is one of their prime areas of where they're going to market. So that 2 people like that, one industry expert, one marketing or sales or management is good. We definitely see a lack of people understanding sales and marketing. Huge lack in understanding sales and marketing. They say, oh, I've got this great product. I'm just going to advertise it on Google and all these people are going to buy or they're going to sign up for my app if I advertise it. Huge missing link in sales and marketing in a lot of young entrepreneurs.
A quick question. This is Brian. Wondering if you kind of look into the crystal ball in the future for seed funders, how do you see Southwest Florida in the big picture?
I know Tim Cartwright has had, when he started Adrenaline, he told me he's having some issues finding qualified companies in Southwest Florida. I think they're out there. I think with you guys helping them get to a point where they're fundable would be great. I've seen some companies. We haven't funded anybody out of Southwest Florida yet. The closest is, I'm not sure if anywhere south of Sarasota. But I think the entrepreneurs are there. I think what you guys are doing is essential. If you can get those companies to find them and get them mentored and get them to the point where we can fund them and then feed them up to Florida funders, that's what the whole ecosystem is about. And that's why I think we would make a great team up with you guys to help us find those companies and feed them up to us.
Great, thank you.
Right, maybe one last question here. We're kind of at the top of the hour. Anybody else with final question for Dave?
This is Steve. So Dave, I think we kind of started out here 4+ years ago and have been attempting to do exactly what you were suggesting. And so this next scale up of our process is very important. And I agree, there probably is a good opportunity to work together on behalf of the ecosystem. Frank and I are in Tamiami Angel. We're involved in the pre-screen committee, and we do a lot of stuff. And the question relative to opportunities in Southwest Florida, you know, I think in the last, since we started, we've had maybe 15 or 20 companies. So, and they've been, some of them where you are, some of them a little bit beyond. But it's nice to hear that there's really a lot more momentum going on for the sake of Florida, and that we have this chance in Southwest Florida to continue to grow it. And just another comment, Dallas is one of our great examples. He did a terrific job today, and I think one of the things that he talked about was his ability to get through the coronavirus, and it looks as though he's done a really nice job. And so I think the more open that everybody is, you know, I think everybody wants to help grow companies, and so it's been very nice listening to you.
Great. And then maybe the last comment I would make is don't be afraid to send us companies and go put them on our website and apply, because if they don't meet our criteria, I answer every single one with a personal email. Every single submittal, even if I get something on LinkedIn or I get an email, but we prefer to have them go on our website. They go on our website, I answer every single one with a personal email saying either, well, here's our criteria and you don't meet it, or I know somebody that might be interested, or if you get to this point, would then come back to us. So don't be afraid. A lot of people say, well, I don't know if I should send you a company because I'm not sure you're going to fund them. Well, we don't fund 95% of them or 98% of them, but they all get an email that says why we're not interested, or whether they should go to somebody else or make some other adjustments. So don't be afraid to recommend companies to us, and we'll take a look at them. And if they don't meet our criteria, we'll help. And I get comments from entrepreneurs. I get some nasty ones, but I get mostly positive ones that say, thank you for being so upfront and honest with me. It's good to see that somebody just told me why we're not fundable versus dragging me on like a lot of other people have. So we respond to every single one. So don't be afraid to refer companies to us. Seedfunders.com.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Dave, and thanks so much for sharing all that with us this morning. That was awesome. I think it was great for our entrepreneurs and our mentors to hear more about seed funders, and glad that you guys have been so active and continue to be active despite everything that's going on. So we look forward to working with you and hopefully having some of our companies get funded by your team.
Great. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Great. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Thanks to Dallas and to Mark and to Brian for participating, and then especially to you, David, for bringing us this update on what you've been up to and what you've seen in the ecosystem. We'll certainly be sending candidates your way. I already have people messaging me asking me for your email, so we'll make sure that we get your contact information shared out. And just for everybody that's participating on the call today, this will be, or has been, recorded, so we'll be sharing this content out as part of the newsletter when it goes out later on this week. So thank you guys so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks for participating and being a part of the Fusion Pointe community.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Yes.
See you, everybody.
Thanks.